I just got back from a sacred hunt with Monsal Denton, who wrote this book, Sacred Hunting, after spending lots of time in the field and having a mentor like Will Teagle. And he's been guiding lots and lots of hunts with lots and lots of people. This was my first hunt ever. I have never hunted before. I've barely shot a gun. And one thing that was so remarkable about this trip was the way that Monsal grounds these modern hunting practices in ritual and technology from indigenous peoples. You know, you want to understand hunting, sure. I would like to learn a little bit about hunting.
I don't see anything.
But what I was most excited to learn about was the feeling of being on a hunt when you know you don't have any protein for your dinner that night. How many countless ancestors of yours and mine have had that experience? There were no predators where we were, besides like some foxes and snakes and stuff like that. Out here in hill country in Texas, there wasn't anything that threatened our life, but besides our own stupidity, besides ourselves. So what did I take away from this trip? Number one, there was a bunch of great guys, most of which I didn't know on this trip. I was super lucky and got invited on this trip. That thing where you're like a group of dudes with a mission, you know? Definitely learned a little bit about shooting a gun, but mostly I was shooting footage. Just one moment, my friend Nathan, in the morning, had this shot on this doe. We were only allowed to shoot doe, and like sets up the rifle super quick, ends up getting in his sight, actually takes the shot. That was the kind of thing that was like, that I knew I needed practice with. Actually taking the shot. Theologically, intellectually, I can understand why we would take a life to feed the lives back home, right? This makes historical sense. This makes biological and survival sense. It also makes sense, these indigenous practices of bringing ourselves beforehand with reverence to interact with that animal. Hunting tribes or packs would do these rituals where they become the animal they're going to hunt, and they make amends and they ask and you know, there's this connection between them, not just a taking, right? I like that. I mean, I'm always been a little bit of a sensitive guy, but this was a far cry from just like regular run of the mill, like taking shots and bragging about our, you know, whatever. So when Nathan took that shot, it was the first shot we heard that morning. It was loud. It was like I was right there, and by the way, missed. He was high. The doe didn't move, just stood there. He ended up getting off 2 more shots, all of them just high. So it might have been something up with the scope. But that intensity, I don't know, that aggressiveness, the violence of it, the decisiveness of it, that was like a masterclass for me. That's something that I feel is an energy that I want to learn more how to do, because I turned 40 this year, and it's just about time. Not just for hunting and taking the shot, but for all things in life. Like, what things in your life are you being undecisive about? Are you unwilling to show your teeth and actually take a bite and go like, I'm in now. I'm in. That is the kind of stuff that we got into. I mean, that's just the energy, the frequency of being on a hunt where you're willing to take a life. In a soulful kind of way, you're ready to take that step. And to give you a sense of the kinds of guys on this trip, Nathan, who I mentioned before, is a doctor of gynecology. He's delivering the babies, he's doing the C-sections, he's coaching the mamas, and I'm currently listening to his podcast with Stephen Jenkinson, who's one of those old, wise people who helped me connect to some of these indigenous ways of thinking. The best 2 pieces of gear I brought are these 2. This is the GoRuck GR3. When you're car camping or need something that's just one solid, huge container, this just felt like the right brand for hunting. Solid. I will link to this below, and if you use my link to purchase this, it supports the channel at no extra cost to you. The second one is this Peak Design largest sling that they make. What is it, 10 liters? Is that the largest one? But this is always my go-to right now for a sling on body, carrying a camera with my microphone attached to it, and a few batteries. That's all that was in here. That's all I had out with me. Links to both of those below. Support the channel. Thanks, Monsol and Jason and the crew for inviting me, and yeah, I've got a lot to learn about hunting.